Hello and welcome to a windy Gabba in Brisbane for the AFL match of the round between the top of the ladder undefeated Hawks and the home team, the Brisbane Lions. And it's not often you get to see two of the greatest full forwards of all time go head to head, and that's what you'll be seeing tonight. No, I'm not talking about Lance Franklin and Jonathan Brown, the two current greats who will go head to head tonight. I'm talking about in the commentary box, where the greatest Brisbane Lion full forward will be sitting next to the greatest of all time Hawthorn full forwards, Jason Dunstall and Alistair Lynch. Welcome to you, boys.
Thanks, Dwayne. I've always said you're a good bloke, despite what everyone else said. Now, Lynchy, we have got a great clash shaping tonight. The Hawks are on fire in 2008, but the Lions have had a great win over Collingwood and a massive come-from-behind victory over Port last week. This should be a beauty.
It should be a great game. They've played some very good football, the Brisbane Lions, and we're looking forward to this contest tonight. There's been a little bit of rain around the area, but hopefully it'll be dry for the whole game.
Well, the Brisbane Lions are coming out right behind us. It was their second greatest comeback ever last week against Port Adelaide. Their greatest comeback just happened to be against the Hawks back in 1995. They are ranked number one in the competition in tackles. They've won 4 of their last 5 against the Hawks by an average of 29 points. So plenty of reason for them to be confident, Lynchy.
Yeah, plenty of reasons. You skipped across, you were captain in 95, but it was a great comeback anyway. But there's plenty of, they tackle well, they chase well. It's going to be a good contest through the midfield to see how they go, though, against the Hawks.
It's a power forwards at both ends of the ground. We've got Brown and Bradshaw at one end, and we've got Franklin and Roughhead at the other.
I mean, how good's this? We see probably Brown gets up the ground like Lance Franklin does, and Bradshaw's a lot closer. And how good's his comeback been from that knee reconstruction? It's been fantastic to see him back amongst the goals. Jared Roughhead, he's a very effective up the ground, but he'll stay close to the goal, top of the goal square for Hawthorn.
Yeah, a lot of talent at both ends. Who's going to get the best service out of the midfield? It's a very important battle in the middle of the ground to see who can service these type of forwards. We see a total of 29 goals from Bradshaw and Brown, 33 from Franklin and Roughhead. A greater reliance on the key forwards from Brisbane, Lynchy.
Yeah, without doubt, and that's where the midfield's got to come in and get some goals on the board. The likes of Ron Hooper, Ash McGrath, they've got to get some crumbing goals. If the Brisbane Lions are realistically going to be a chance, it'll be a close game. It'll come down to the best crumbing forwards and the best midfield will win the game, I think.
Now, who gets the job on Franklin?
I think Joel Patfull will start there. I mean, Jared Brennan's played on him before and been all right, but I think they'll like to keep Brennan up the sleeve to go through the midfield rotation. So I think start with Patfull and we'll see how things pan out.
And at the other end of the ground, you'd think Trent Croad, how happy would Brisbane be to have him back early from injury, given they need a power defender to play on the number one player in the competition in Brown?
Without doubt, and he's got the athletic ability and size to go with a bloke like Jonathan Brown. It's just fantastic to get him back in the side. So I think he'll be hoping there's a bit of rain coming around, like a lot of the other defenders on the ground. But Trent Croad, quality player, been a great match-up to see that one go head-to-head all night.
Well, it's been a great start to the 2008 season by the Hawks. Can they keep it going, particularly here at the Gabba, a place that hasn't been a happy hunting ground for them? Let's hear from their coach, Alistair Clarkson.
No, we've had a bit of trouble up here, Smithy. You know, Brisbane, in some of that time, have been an outstanding side, you know, through that 01, 02, 03 period where they were just a dominant force in the competition. I don't think many sides won up here, but our form hasn't been particularly good. But, you know, we've made some pretty bold decisions as a footy club over the last 3 or 4 years, injecting some talented youth into our club, and hopefully we're starting to see some of the benefit of those decisions. And, you know, our record in the first 4 games of the season has been pretty good, but we know that we've got a big challenge tonight.
All right, let's take a look at the two lineups, Lynchy. No late changes for the Hawks, but one late change for the Brisbane Lions. An important one. Nigel Lappin goes out of the side and Robert Copeland replaces him.
Yeah, Nigel Lappin's gone out with a leg injury, so it'll be important that Copeland holds up an end. Daniel Merritt will go with Roughhead, as we've discussed. Rioli's been fantastic in the pocket, and Williams obviously coming back into the Hawthorn side. Last week will be a hard one to match up on. Crawford, Franklin, Osborne, a great match-up. And certainly Begley, Patfull and Corrie are going to have their work cut out there.
Mitchell back from injury to lead the Hawks tonight, comes into a midfield that's going to have a great battle on their hands. We know the Brisbane Lions midfield is chock full of stars, but nothing wrong with Bateman and Mitchell and Sewell and Hodge either in the middle of the ground.
It's outstanding. Look at Charman going against Campbell, Black on Sewell, Power on Hodge. They're going to be the matchups, but it's also the second tier that where Brisbane are going to have to step up to match the Hawthorn runners.
Ladson and Birchall have given tremendous drive across half-back all year. Hooper's a player that probably hasn't realised his potential yet. Jared Brennan, another X-factor for the Lions.
Yeah, without doubt, and they're trying to stretch, obviously, the Hawks' defence by having Leuenberger, Brennan and Bradshaw on that full forward line, so it'll be interesting to see how long they stay with that. There's plenty of run on the interchange bench for both sides, especially the Brisbane Lions and Taylor, to come off and add some support in the ruck.
Yeah, Tim Clark has come back into the side last week, kept his spot this week. He'll probably do a job on someone. There's Mark Williams and Cyril Rioli, a couple of key players for the Hawks. It's Brisbane and Hawthorn going through their final preparations here at the Gabba. We will be back with the first bounce on the other side of the break.
To the Gabba, two captains tonight, Sam Mitchell, and the winner of the toss, the man who's playing his 200th game tonight, Luke Power. He's a man they'll have to stop as well. Got a Brownlow vote in both games against Hawthorn last year, Luke Power, so he does enjoy playing against the Hawks. And there's Matthew Leuenberger, who had the big task last week against Lade and Brogan and performed manfully. A man who did exactly that during his 300-game career. Rowan Smith is on the boundary line.
Thanks very much, Dwayne. And the boys spoke about the big, tall power forwards of the Hawthorn Footy Club before. Also, Mark Williams coming into the team after that knee injury as well. He just adds a little bit of spark, goal-scoring power, can get up the ground, deliver the ball back into the forward 50. He's a very smart player. Also, Lukey Power playing his 200th game, which is an outstanding effort, Dwayne.
Certainly is, Rowan, and all is in readiness here at the Gabba. The umpires tonight, Luke Farmer, Ray Chamberlain and Shane McInerney, three of the best in the business for the match of the round. Almost a full house here at the Gabba. And the crowd here know how big this one is.
Well, there's the first surprise. They started with Merritt on Franklin, but just at the last minute, it's Jared Brennan that has gone on to Lance Franklin, and as we expected, Daniel Merritt goes over on a Jared Roughhead.
Oh, I think the big surprise is Jonathan Brown's in the middle of the ground.